Friends, my name is Chris and welcome to the Movies 360 Club. Today we are going to tell about the film Prey, which was released in 2022, which is one of the hits of this year. So quickly like and subscribe to the channel, do it. It helps us a lot to grow the channel. Friends, the story starts from the 1917s, where a girl named Naru is shown. Who wants to be a hunter? She lives with a tribe named Comanche on the mountains of the northern Great Plains of America. He also has a loyal dog named Sarai. One morning, while practicing with his axe, Naru saw a deer. She decides to hunt it. As soon as the deer takes a position to hunt, suddenly there is the sound of thunder in the sky, hearing which the deer is running away. Naru and the dogs follow him, but the deer runs away fast. The dog's tail gets caught in the bear's trap. He starts screaming. Naru then removes the bear trap. After that, Naru puts the herb on his request. That eases her pain and lets her go. She wondered how this bear trap came here and who must have kept it. Again, he heard a loud rumble. From the sky and behind it to the edge of a rock, there we see a predator ship approaching. Predators are a type of species that love to hunt on Earth. They come to Earth from time to time, hunting their prey and carrying its head like a trophy. Many young hunters use the Earth as a place to prove themselves. Thereafter, she meets her brother Tabe, who is a warrior. Their main job was hunting and obtaining food for their people. Naru tells her brother Tabe that today she saw a thunderbird in the sky and she thinks she is ready for big hunt. Then Tabe says you have to first hunt the hunter who wants to hunt you. After this, Naru goes to her house where we see her mother Aruka, who knew how to make medicines from herbs. Naru helps her mother in making medicine. She was sharpening her axe too. Mother asks to leave it, because her mother also believed that girls were not made to hunt. Mother explains to him that you are good at other things. You stop this hunting. Then Aruka sends him to get the herb called orange tacha. On the other hand, we see the same spaceship from which a predator is seen landing. When she comes back, she sees all the people are running here and there. Then it comes to know that a man named Putti has been taken away by the lion. With some of his companions go to find Putti in the forest. Suddenly Naru meets them. She comes in front of the people, but the people of the clan refuse to take Naru alone. Only then Tabe explains to her companions that if we get the whole alive, then Naru will be needed for Putti's treatment because she too is rooted like her mother. Has good knowledge of making herbs. Then the very next moment we see a snake that tries to escape a rabbit. Suddenly the predator comes invisible and kills the snake. After a few days, they find Putti who is still alive. Naru feeds her herbs, after which he started trembling. Tabe asks some people to take Putti back to the village and asks Naru to join them. He proceeded to hunt the lion along with the rest. On his way back, the dog Sari found skin which looked like a snake. Then Naru suddenly saw a big paw mark which belonged to a predator. She was confused as she had never seen such footprints before. He assumed it was a big bear, so he decided that this thing will have to be told to Tabe. She goes back to the lion's territory where brother was sitting to kill the lion. She explains to him what she saw. She thought that the lion is scared of something, so it is attacking in panic. Tabe dismisses him as the hunter of the jungle. No one can scare away the lion. But Tabe does not believe Naru's words. He feels that no one can scare a creature like a lion in this forest. Astonishingly, he saw some dead animals here too, killed in a very strange way. Naru suggests using them as bait, while she and another man is waiting on a tree. The other man was convinced of the idea as he believed that Naru should have stayed in the village. As he started arguing with her, the lion attacked him from behind and killed him. Soon it started chasing Naru. Both of them were on a tree. Naru started trembling as he moved towards the bank. Here he heard and saw the predator with light in the forest and quickly fell from the tree. Next, we see Naru in her house. She was alive. His mother wakes him up and gives an update. Tabe killed the lion and brought it back here. Naru's mother congratulates on saving Pohi's life and scolds her for going on such a reckless hunt. Later, Tabe brings the lion's carcass. Everyone is happy. Although personally he appreciated Naru's help. It was still thumping in Naru's mind that someone is killing the animals. She wanted to go out again. But Tabe rejects it again. He says you are not fit to hunt. You can't hunt. Like all angry teens, she doesn't obey her brother. The next morning he began tracking predators' footprints with his dogs. She makes a rope from a wooden skin, ties it to her axe and practices it as a boomerang. Then the predator saw a wolf hunting a rabbit. It stands between the two and attacks the wolf. He beheaded her, took her to a nearby cave, and dissolved it in acid. Then its skull was collected as a memento. Here Naru killed many rabbits with his new technique. He and his dog thoroughly enjoyed the lunch. As soon as she reached the borderline, she saw that there were carcasses of many buffaloes without skin. Somebody had brutally killed them. Then praise on the death of the buffaloes as they were a symbol of honor and unloading. Then he gets a cigar here. After this, Naru slips into a swamp and slowly starts sinking inside. Then the predator also reaches the same place. He also sees a cigar. Naru forcibly threw his axe into a nearby bush, planted it, and somehow it comes up. She later goes to a nearby river to clean herself. After some time, a bear reaches there with the food of its prey. When he was eating it, he smelled of Naru's dog and starts following her. Naru quickly tried to hunt him down, but his bow broke. The bear sees this, he charges up and finally buries it in a small bush. But the bear gets a bad luck as all this is watching predator. He attacks the bear from behind and we see some awesome fight between these two as both were equally powerful. Then in the end, predator ruthlessly kills the bear with his bare hands, and seeing all this, Naru gets very scared and runs away from there. After all this, Naru understands one thing, that he is not fully prepared to be a hunter. And on that side, the men of the village were looking for Naru on the orders of Tabe. Suddenly they are found. Upon finding him, Naru tries to explain what he saw, but he refuses to believe it. Obviously, believing an unknown animal is a difficult question. A fight breaks out here as Naru was in no mood to go back. Predator was watching it all. There the men grabbed Naru, tied his hand, and when he started going back, he heard the roar of the predator. The men took positions. One man stepped forward to check, but nothing was visible. Naru begged him not to go, but he did not listen. We see 3 laser-guided pointers on his body, with predator quickly shattering him to pieces with metal arrows. The remaining men randomly shoot their arrows into the open field, one of which hits the predator. At last everyone saw this creature. They attacked him, but apparently it was too much for him. Naru cleverly loosened himself and started running away. After killing all those men, predator starts chasing Naru. Soon Naru's foot gets caught in the bear's trap. She tries to escape but fails. The hunter comes very close to him, seeing him trapped and leaves. He came here to hunt, not to kill people for no reason. Naru was trapped and had no weapon, so she was not good enough to be his victim. Next we see that a bunch of French men were shouting at Naru because they were the ones who were setting the net across the forest. They took Naru to his place, where he saw a man smoking a cigar. Seeing this, she understands that their frightened buffaloes were killed by these people, as it was a common way of preventing the people from living here. There was also a translator who knew English and wanted to know Naru about his encounter with Predator, his weakness and strength. He also killed many of his men. They also wanted to hunt the Predator. But Naru doesn't tell her anything. These men have captured Tabe. They shed his blood and tie him up with Naru to hunt the Predator. Naru knew that Predator would not hunt these two, so she was sure. The Predator then attacks these French men from behind and ruthlessly kills most of them. He used all his modern technologies, including drones. He was also injured in all this. On the other hand, Naru and Tabe escape. They reached the campsite where Naru killed all the remaining French men. He freed his dog. Then he saw the translator, who begged for his life. He was ready to teach her how to use a gun instead of medicine. Naru agrees. She takes his gun and learns to use it. He gave her the medicine, which brought down her body temperature. When the Predator arrived, that French male was completely hidden on his thermal radar because the temperature was down. This was another weakness that Naru feels. But it was the misfortune of the French man that the Predator accidentally stepped on his foot. That French screamed in pain, and on sight he dies. Here Naru's dog started barking. Predator pointed his laser at him. Tabe suddenly attacked the hunter from behind and threw his helmet. The laser was now pointing at a tree when the Predator shot the arrow, thinking it would hit the dog, instead hitting the points on the tree. This means that these metal arrows follow the pointers, not the subject. Somehow this Predator was not aware of this weakness. Naru saw this third weakness. Tabe tells Naru to run away as it was impossible for both of them to survive. And I had injured him to a great extent by fighting him, but in the end sacrifices himself. Saddened by the death of her brother, Naru runs away with her dog to a safe place. His mission was not completed yet. He had to kill the Predator somehow. After nightfall, he grabbed another Frenchman and cut off his leg. She wanted to use him as bait. Instead of tying her, she cut off her leg so that she could not run away. She also took her medicine, which lowered her body temperature. The Predator went right after him without realizing it. Taking the opportunity, Naru shot that Predator on the neck, due to which he suffered serious injuries. Then quickly stole her helmet and ran away. He planned it by placing it near a wet clay spot so that once the Predator occupied that spot, it was clearly visible to the lasers. After Predator chases Naru after killing the Frenchman, we see some brutal action scenes here. Naru deftly separated his hand from his own weapon. She then jumped off a tree, attacked randomly, and drags it to the place of the soil for the same, according to its planning. As a last resort, the Predator opened his metal arrows and pointed them at Naru. Naru realized that her plan was working. She jumped out and the pointers pointed to the Predator himself. Metal arrows killed the Predator in one shot. Eventually, the hunter became the victim. Naru takes her head and goes to her village where everyone is happy, but she is also sad because she lost many of her men in one night. He accepted Naru as a hunter and gave him the rank of war chief. She then hands the pistol to the elder of the tribe. It read, Raphael Adelini, 1715. The film ends with a cartoon that shows 3 predator ships approaching the village. The movie ends here. Friends, how did you like this film? Do tell us by commenting. See you with the next story. Thanks.